Hey guys, let's go and welcome back and welcome to the top 12 mistakes that newbie guitar players often make. Number 1, buying the wrong size of a guitar. Now, most people do buy an acoustic guitar to start out with. It's portable, you don't have to plug it into anywhere, it requires no hydro, so even in a power outage, acoustic guitars are kind of nice to have around the house. Okay. But most often people do buy the wrong size guitar, electric or acoustic, okay? And especially when it comes to kids. I mean, I've seen some little kids on YouTube trying to play guitar, and it's like they're struggling just to do anything because the guitar is an adult-sized guitar for a little child, and it's like, man, that person's parents, I don't know. But you have to be properly sized up, especially for acoustics. They're a lot more critical for sizing than electrics are. But even electrics need to be sized according to the person's size. So this happens a lot. Now on an acoustic guitar, you have to have that pivoting point area for strumming. Okay, and you got to be able to strum here, not here, and not way back here. Okay, and not back like this either. Okay, you got to be able to hold the guitar comfortably and be able to strum and pivot on that elbow and forearm area properly. And smoothly, okay? Otherwise, good luck. Number 2, not getting the guitar set up properly. This is a big problem. Whether you're buying a new guitar, used guitar, regardless, it has to be set up properly to be able to play properly, okay? And so one of the key things of getting the guitar set up right is the action height. Now, more advanced players, you guys, you set your strings wherever. Some of you like to have them up high, and that's fine. But new guitar players need to have an honest, fair go at it. So, but even me, after playing for over 30 years, I hate a high action. Okay, I like my action to be sitting as low as possible. Okay, because it makes for being able to play longer periods, because I'm not fatiguing my fingers, I'm not getting wrist cramping, you know. You got to take all those things into consideration, okay? And the other thing too is if your action's too high, you're pressing down a lot before you even come in contact with the fret bars, and then you're squeezing for dear life just to hold it there to play a chord, you know, or maybe it's a note. You know, I'd rather have it go easier for me and be able to play for much longer periods. Okay, so setting the guitar up properly needs to be done by a professional, should be done by a professional. Because sometimes it's more involved than just a neck adjustment. Sometimes it's nuts, sometimes it's saddle, you know, and on electrics, it's a whole other ball of wax. Alright, so, but a lot of times noobs don't get the guitar set up right, which will actually cause them to want to quit, which will bring us into another part of this on number 6, which we'll get to. Number 3, noobs don't tend to practice what they're being taught. They think, well, I'll just go do my own thing after this lesson is over and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, your teacher's going to know if you haven't practiced or not, and be prepared to get holy hell for it, because they'll know that you practiced or didn't. Okay? And even at 10 minutes a day, every single day between lessons, your teacher can tell if you practiced the material assigned. Okay? So, and you are the one too who is going to be in the problem for not practicing what you're being taught, you know, because you will take that much longer to learn how to play if you're not practicing what you're being taught. And you're usually, if you got a good teacher, you're being taught things that'll get you up and going quicker, okay? And that's very important for a lot of people. They want to play and they want to play now. So common chord progressions are G, C, D. There's millions of songs just with G, C, and D, and that's all there is in those songs. G, C, D, G, C, D, G, C, D. Not even a variation, just G, C, D, okay? And that can get you playing right away, makes it more encouraging, more fun, more exciting, blah, 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 and you'll keep going at it, right? And then you'll want to play that much more. So, you know, but common chords, G, C, D, get those things licked, and boom, you're off to the races. Now, the number 4, Noobs are bad for this. Sometimes us more advanced players can be a little lazy. I'll admit that at times. And I can tell when my guitar's not sounding right too, so I'll actually stop and tune it. But noobs tend to not take the time to learn to tune their guitar as well. One of the things I used to teach is part of learning chords is I teach how to properly tune the guitar. So every student's responsible for having their own tuner, okay? And I show them exactly how to tune it and how it's done. And then this way, every time before you pick up your guitar, you tune your guitar up properly. This way it sounds correct. Otherwise you keep thinking you're playing off notes. Because believe it or not, regardless of what some people will tell you on the internet, which is actually a load of crap, guitars do not stay in perfect tune. They never do. They'll drop a half step overnight easy. Okay, just sitting there doing nothing, whether they're in the case or on a stand. And especially more so being on a stand, okay, because there's pressure of the weight of the guitar always against it. And with climate changes too in the house, that affects the wood acoustically and on electrics, and it does actually cause them to even go down as much as a half step. So you should be practicing retuning to proper pitch every single time, because it can sound okay, but even a half step down sounds good, but it's not proper. All right. Next mistake. Using too light or too heavy of strings is another common mistake that noobs make. It's also a mistake that a lot of other people make that have been playing for decades. There's a lot of people out there that like heavy strings. And, well, if the guitar is designed and built to handle those heavy strings and you're a heavy string kind of player, that's just fine by me. That's up to you. But a lot of guitars that are being manufactured are typically only designed to handle the strings that are on them, or maybe a smidgen lighter, but generally not heavier. And with a heavier string comes a thicker string, which also comes whacked out intonation too, because now your string lengths are changing because they're now sitting on top of the slots instead of in the slots properly where they should be. It also makes deeper groove tracks in your bridge, which means when you go back to that other string, now you've done bridge damage and nut damage. So if you go heavy, you're going to be stuck with heavy, basically. Now, going to a lighter string is not always a bad thing either. Although too light of a string, you do any kind of string bending, sometimes even just regular playing, you start playing a little hard, you stretch those strings easy and knock it out of tune fast. So I use Martin light gauge strings, or 12 gauge. And then I also use either Dario or Fender 9 gauge strings on my electric guitars. And in fact, the Fender Stratocasters, even in mine when I bought my Squier Vibe Series Strat, it said right up on the website and right in the info with it that you're only to use 9 gauge strings. To go any heavier, it will void your warranty and can cause damage to the guitar. Okay? Going lighter, of course, may not cause damage, but it's also going to cause your neck to bow back, which is going to overlower your action. Okay, which means you're going to buzz like hell, which means you got to lift your neck back up, reset your intonation. It's a real pain, okay, just to go to a lighter gauge. Okay, but some people like them. I tried lighter gauge strings once, and just bending a string a bit, boom, knocked it right out of tune. It's like, oh, now you got to tune back up. And then you do it again, then you tune back up. And you do it again, you tune back up. And then all of a sudden, snap! Because now it's overstretched. Too light of a string. Too many problems. So, 9s it is for all my electrics, and 12s on my acoustics. Works for me, and everything stays stable. Next, number 6. Too much complaining about pain. Oh, my poor fingers. And they're sucking on their fingers, It's like, yeah, I bet you that hurts a little bit, doesn't it? Why? Because you're doing the Vulcan death grip. And you don't need to. And this causes problems, too, because if you got a guitar with thicker frets on it and you squeeze hard, it also brings the pitch up, which can stretch your strings and knock you out of tune, and it's going to make your fingers hurt like a mother. Okay? So, you want to be cautious of that with your guitar, that the frets will determine how much pressure you need. Okay? And it is easier to press down strings on an electric than it is acoustic any day of the week regardless. Okay? But like I said, some people start with acoustic, some with electric. It just depends. Some people don't like either one. You know, like they'll like an electric but not an acoustic and vice versa. Anyhow, pain is part of the game of learning guitar. Your fingers will eventually get callous and you will not feel pain anymore. And then you got nothing to whine about, do you? Number 7. They try to play too advanced of a song. Noobs are bad for this. They try to put themselves into songs that they're not ready to play, whether it be the strumming pattern involved, but usually it's strumming and chords. Too many extra chords that you haven't even learned yet. Okay, and then you sit there and you try and figure it out. So then you get a song, let's say it's got G, C, and D. And then they throw an A minor in. D7. You know, sorry, D7, D major, D minor. They throw in just off chords. You wouldn't, oh, how do I do that? Okay, well this is D7. You know, this is D minor. Okay, we got that. And so we gotta go. There's a lot of combinations going on there, and you're like, and you gotta figure out how to strum it. And this is part of, you know, you going back to they don't practice what they're being taught. They try to go for something different, right? So noobs often will try and play stuff more advanced than what they're ready for. Okay, right now you're just ready to learn some chords. Okay, now number 8. Noobs do this. They tend to spend too much money on a guitar. See, I don't think anybody should have the privilege or right just because they have oodles of cash to go out and buy a really expensive guitar at first. Because I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to be honest with you, because a lot of people won't, but I'm going to give you the straight good. The more money you spend on a guitar, it's not going to make you a better player. It will not. Just, you know, you could go out and buy the most expensive Martin, Fender, Gibson, Guild, I don't care, and be a beginner guitar player, you know, because you got oodles of cash coming out your yin-yang. That nice guitar that just cost you big piles of money is not going to make you or even help make you a better player. It just says, I got bragging rights, okay? Start out with something around, you know, like about a $300-400 guitar tops, you know. Now that's acoustic. On electric, you're probably going to spend a little bit more because you do want a decent sounding amp. You don't want some little tin box crap amp, okay? But you want a half decent amplifier, or at least it's got some good quality sound to it. So plug into a lot of different amps and find something, you know, somewhere around the $200 range for an amp, about, you know, $300, $350 for the guitar. That's a good investment, you know, and that's going brand new, okay? And I always suggest to noobs to go brand new because when you buy brand new, the music shops generally will set up the guitar for you for free. Okay, most shops will, especially if they're reputable shops. And then this way you can go home with an already beautifully set up guitar. But onward we go. Number 9. Most noobs do not research their guitars before buying them, okay? It's one thing to tell you guys, well, don't spend a lot of money, but also, yeah, I got to tell you, you got to research your guitars first. There's a lot of guitar brands out there. Some of them are good brands to buy into for the money. Some are horrible, okay? Doesn't matter if you're going acoustic or electric, okay? Research online. Watch YouTube video reviews on the guitars you're interested. Exact specific model too. And of course, read a lot of written reviews and then compile your information together on that guitar and see what the general public has said. You know, if it's a go, give her. If it's not, well, keep searching. Take your time when purchasing a guitar. Don't rush into something. Oh, I want to play now. That's the wrong attitude. You need to make sure that what you're buying is something that's going to be a good starter guitar that's going to last you, let's say, for at least your first 2 to 3 years. Okay? And then you can advance to a more better guitar after that if you have survived that long playing guitar. Because see, a lot of people, they give up. They give up because of pain. They give up because they can't figure out how to do this whole strumming thing, etc., etc. There's many reasons why people give up, okay, including a poorly set up guitar can do it, or buying too crap of a guitar. Just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's better. Just because it's more expensive doesn't mean it's better. And a more expensive guitar that even is better is still ain't going to make you a better player. You've got to put in the time. So what you put in, you get out, And sometimes you can put in, and get nothing out of it. Well, that just means you're not meant to be a guitar player. So at least if you didn't spend a lot of money, you're not going to lose a whole lot of money when you got to resell that thing, because you just can't do it. Now, number 10, why noobs most commonly fail at playing guitar. They flunk it. They just can't do it. Most common, they will not put in an honest effort to learn. You have to be playing this thing every single day, okay? Especially in the learning phase. You've got to play it every single day. And that be it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half an hour a day, whatever you've allotted that your fingers can handle each and every day, okay, until calluses are built, you have to put into it. And you got to give it an honest go. You've got to actually practice the material you're being taught, okay, and work on just that material and master it. Okay, when I was taking lessons, this was me for like 6 months. I had to learn this stuff. Once I mastered that whole section, going up and down the neck on the three progressions, then I got to play. Okay, and then of course after that, I got to learn. To perfect it, and then my teacher would actually teach me chords. It took 6 months, but I did it. Okay, I mastered it. Everything he wanted on that, I mastered it, no problem. So, number 11. Oh, some people are gonna hate me for this one. Too thick of a pick. I really get upset at places that sell people thick picks. Okay, especially noobs. Noobs are the worst. I mean, you guys are like, oh, this is a cool style of pick. Yeah! But it's too thick, and you're never going to learn to pick with that, let alone strum with it. So too thick of a pick is a bad idea. Well, what gauge of a pick is a good pick? 0.46 millimeter is the maximum thickness you should be doing for your first probably 2 years. Depends how fast you're learning too, and how good you're getting too, and how fast you're getting good. But generally, first 2 years, 0.46. Now, after over 30 years, guess what I'm using? I'm still using a 0.46 millimeter. Okay, it's very rare I go to anything thicker. In fact, I do have one pick that is just a hairball thicker. Okay, and they're Taylor picks. And I really like these picks. They're a tortoiseshell pick. The only problem with them is a little bit too much flexing, and they tend to snap on me, and it's like, that sucks. So I buy the Matchbox, or Match Pick they call them, and it's a pack of 6 picks, and you can get them in different thicknesses. But like I said, I generally use the 0.46. I've got 0.38, but I find that nowadays they're a little bit too thin for my playing. But even a 0.38 is a good pick, even though it's thinner than this, because it's going to help you develop strumming and wrist action a lot easier. Because it flexes nice. I've yet to ever cut, slice, or snap one of these picks. So I kind of have a collection of them going in here, but the only reason I keep so many of them in there is because I might drop one, or it'll fly out of my finger because I get stupid when I'm playing, and at least I can grab another one really quick out of the top instead of going to play fetch on the floor. I can grab it later. But these also make a really nice sound for the guitar too. Thicker picks tend to be very chunky, very restrictive, and they prevent you from doing a lot of different types of things with your strumming and wrist picking. So when you advance enough that you can work your way up to the thicker picks till you find that maximum pick thickness, then you should actually stay with one of these for the first while. This is actually the best pick. So the next number 12, and then that's it for today. Strumming problems. Strumming problems happen for a reason. If your guitar is too big or too small, you're gonna have strumming problems like crazy. Okay, I can now play on small body guitars because I've mastered the larger stuff. So I can take one of those backseat guitars, they call them road guitars or backpacker guitars, or I can just go buy a small little guitar just because, you know, it's cute, right? And I'll play it a few times, hang it on the wall, type of thing, right? So, but too small of a guitar and too big of a guitar causes strumming problems. But strumming problems will still occur if you're refusing to learn. And strumming problems also come from too thick of a pick, okay? So these are problems that the noobs make with their strumming is related to too thick of a pick. And it's also related to an improperly sized and not properly set up guitar too, can cause strumming issues as well. Okay, like there's strumming where you're basically locking your wrist. Okay, and there's ones where you're more wrist than arm. Okay, but then you're using more arm and locking wrist. And a song can use a combination of different techniques, and that's how you get these different things going on. So, you know, don't try and push things too quick, like hand dampening techniques. You know, you gotta be accurate in your strumming to know exactly when and where to use that dampening on which strings or all the strings, okay? Or just maybe even 2 strings, you know, you gotta try and dampen that, right? That's technique. That takes time to learn. And this is where strumming problems happen, is because you'll want to play a song that, you know, has some familiar chords to you, but it's got a lot of this technique in it that you haven't even tried yet or learned to do yet, right? So you've got to figure that out. Like, how is that sound being made with that guitar? Right? So it's all on the strumming, and you get problems going on, you know, but these problems are generally caused most of the time because of improperly set up guitars, too thick of a pick, wrong size guitar are the 3 general most things that happen with strumming problems, okay? And you also don't practice different strummings, okay? So, because you've got, you know, down, up, down, up. And there's nothing wrong with down up. It's actually a good practice. And there are a lot of songs written just on straight down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, and then you got down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up. All kinds of different weird types of strumming patterns and timings too. 4, 4, 6, 8, and so on. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video on the top 12 mistakes that noobs make. When I get some time, maybe I'll write down some more of them and do another part of this series. So until then, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.